Hello everybody, my name is Davidová and I'm an independent junior research group leader at the Cluster of Excellence Integrative Computational Design and Construction for Architecture, and I would like to present you my transdisciplinary studio course called COLife, Modern Human Perspective to Codesign. This studio course will be held between Architecture and Urban Planning program and program Master Planning and Participation. This work will be research by design and it will relate to my research. I will present you the studio course on multiple examples of what we have done before and sort of open the visions to the future. So you would be working within a kind of a research lab and continuing in ongoing research and developing it further. I would start this explanation with Gregory Bateson, who asked what pattern connects the crab to the lobster and the orchid to the primrose, and all of them to me and to you. And we will be talking about multi-centered design. This means that it would be group work, co-designing actually between you as the students, also with multiple stakeholders from the communities or from research. And we would be kind of like relating things together, discussing that there is nothing like a real thing. That means that there are multiple perspectives and each of the stakeholder or each of the student will have different perspectives, and we will be searching for the synergetic solution, connecting what is with what if for cross-beings co-living. I will explain you how we would be working. So we would be first, everyone would kind of map their minimap, their own personal universe behind this project. And when you map your personal universe, you start to understanding yourself. Then you present it to everybody, which generates empathy and understanding with that everybody sees the things a bit different. When we do that, we start connecting these minimaps in the gigamaps, starting searching for the relations and searching for synergetic proposal, which we would then full-scale prototype and place in the real life and environment within something which I call real life co-design laboratory, because this is something when the real co-design happens, because it is facing the real life stakeholders within real life environment, and these stakeholders also other species, other people, the human non-human community interacts with the kind of intervention in a real life, and they adapt it and change it, inhabit it, maybe eat it, and so on. Then we would also reflect on this and take the new mission for the future work. So this is an example by my student in Cardiff, who actually mapped the minimaps amongst his schoolmates, and searched for the relationships between these minimaps, searched for the synergy and interpret each relations. The relation interpretation is very important, because you cannot find synergy if you don't understand the relation. This is how it happens when we do that with markers on the paper, and this is how it looks when we work with communities, also having multiple generations and people with multiple backgrounds. So it becomes a bit more messy and a bit more fun. We also bring tangible objects, because they generate creativity and discussions, because when people touch the things in their hands, they start to understand better, and the interpretations become much more interesting. When we finish this co-design part, we place the prototypes into real life, and then the real co-design part happens when, for instance, this is an example from the opening, when this dancer and the mapping, video mapping, is interpreting this object of the pavilion, giving it another dimensions. This is the interpretation by the blackbird, who clearly let us know that it is perfect street furniture for other species, which is very important because people put these needles in the windows or whatever, wherever, so that birds cannot sit on them. And then there is a problem because the birds cannot rest, and they cannot migrate through the city, or if they try to migrate, they might die of exhaustion. This example is treehouse, which is actually self-standing structure. However, it cannot stand without the tree because it would blow away. So it is dancing in the wind with the tree. And what we did, we grew moss on that platform. Therefore, we extended edible and habitable landscape. And when we are not there, this fabric here is not there. And it is serving to other habitats than ours. When we are there, we have beautiful moss bed for sleeping. What we would be working with in this studio, which is like long-lasting part of my research, is responsive wood. Responsive wood reacts to relative humidity and temperature. When the relative humidity is low and temperature high, the panels are warping, and therefore we can design screens that are airing the structure, generating different climates, cooling the airflow. And when the relative humidity is high and temperature low, it closes and doesn't let the airflow go through. What is very important is this algae that is growing there, because this algae is co-designing the performance, because as you can see here, the moisture content of the panel with the algae is 10% lower than the moisture content of the panel without algae, which means that in the hot weather, the panels are warping more and airing more, whilst when the relative humidity is high and temperature low, the panels are not warping the opposite direction. This is just a simulation of the airflow when the panels are fully open, and this is when they are half open. So what we will be applying to. So this is an example of the project we did in Prague, where we sort of work with multi-objectivity of those interventions. This is our landscape ecologist who is teaching seed bombing to the kids with honey blooming seeds, where these kids actually take care of them. And the plants have honey. The honey is very important for the insects living in this responsive wood insect hotel. But how this responsive insect hotel works is actually each square here is one separate chamber. The panels are from different position of the tree trunk, so each of them are warping different, which means that we are generating different microclimates in each of this chamber, and the more diverse microclimate is the higher biodiversity, because different species have different preferences. What is this insect hotel good for is also it is fast food restaurant for the bats and birds in the neighborhood, where it is actually placed on the migration path. So this is what we studied what was there. We would also engage the community with other interventions, like teaching kids how to make bird food for the autumn, participate on festivals and so on. We would also gamify the thing with augmented reality, so the people get interested and start caring about their neighborhood. And what we would do more is actually placing a QR code on these prototypical interventions. And this QR code leads to DIY recipes. In this case, you can download a grasshopper model, and you are explained how to adapt the grasshopper model for your tree in your garden or in your neighborhood, and how to build the insect hotel yourself. And this is very important because thus the project becomes generative. With one intervention, you don't manage to do so much because it's just one intervention. If we actually speculate on that people would be DIYing our recipes, we can generate urban connectivity from spot to spot because we would have this more of these insect hotels or whatever you would work with. You don't have to work with insects, you can work with bats and birds, whatever species you would prefer. So this is the QR code which leads to those DIY recipes. That's on my blog. And what we actually also worked with, and I would like to at least speculate a bit on it, it's blockchain economy, multi-species blockchain economy, where butterfly is paid for pollinating your tomato, whilst it can then buy your DIY insect hotel or something. So that would be like multi-species economy that is appreciating the performance within the ecosystem. And that is very important because the reason why are we facing mass extinction is because nobody's seen the value of the pollinator pollinating, because nobody pays the butterfly for pollinating. So therefore nobody would actually extend the meadow for the butterfly, and that means that the butterfly goes extinct and we don't have pollination, which means we don't have harvest, and there are multiple starvations on the planet, right? So this is something we prototyped before. It is we couldn't work with blockchain because we didn't have enough finances for making a blockchain app. However, we made token-based app. It was just like first prototype. Where you can act on behalf of other species and buy a meadow for the butterfly and so on, and you can be paid for DIYing the DIY recipes that you would find in this app. If you are interested to see the app, you can scan this QR code. What we are working on now, or we have been working on now in Stuttgart, this is kind of like a bit more complex, the insect hotel, because it is also having pollinators garden. And what we are actually now kind of prototyping is we are placing webcam, and we are working with image recognition to recognize that the pollinator is pollinating. Therefore, the pollinator wouldn't be acting on behalf by some people, but it would be acted on behalf by artificial intelligence. So we would, what you would work with would be similar interventions. This time we would, as you see here, we would be working with actually building adaptations, because it is very important that because there is not so much spaces in many cities like to place the thing in open environment. So we want to make interventions that can be installed on buildings or on people's balconies, and you would design these DIY recipes and motivate people. You would design like simplified versions for people what can be done even by a small child. So we would always make an opening, discuss the thing with public, and invite the performer to interpret the prototype, and have a community party. We are very lucky because we are sponsored by Maritime Hotel, so it is actually on their courtyard, and they are able to support us with catering, and we can have a nice community event. So just to sum up, what is the main mission for this research by design? This is a gigamap I did actually many years ago. I just mapped several projects, and which I have been working on, and map the opportunities and agencies, like modern human agencies that are happening within these projects. And what I concluded, the more non-anthropocentric agency within these projects, the more benefits to the humans. So in fact, what is non-anthropocentric is also anthropocentric. Therefore, I would like to stress out within this studio, we would discuss the transition towards post-Anthropocene that leads towards biodiversity and climate change adaptation through multi-centered, multi-being design. And we would discuss the dependence on the overall ecosystem, living or non-living, and discuss that the recent economic models do not reflect this dependence, right? We would discuss the transition from human-centered to non-anthropocentric, and do that through research by design feedback loops. And that would be actually working with collective gigamapping, and we would update this gigamapping with digital technologies. We would work with ecosystemic prototypical interventions and their hyper-objective relations. We would discuss transition from cities for people towards the participation of both biotic and abiotic agency within one feedback looping ecosystem, the real-life codesign laboratory. The real-life codesign laboratory future vision, this is not something we would reach with this studio, but we always have to place some target where we would like to transit and make the future. So we would sort of speculate on living ecosystem community through small collaborative robots and artificial intelligence and blockchain regenerative economy. The living ecosystem community would consist of co-design, the DIY prototypes, types and robots, and redesign through real life. The small collaborative robots and AI would consist of DIY ecosystem building, real-life maintenance through robots and machine learning, and real-life redesign through robots and machine learning. The blockchain regenerative economy would actually generate the biotic agency appreciation acted on behalf by AI, abiotic agency appreciation acted on behalf by AI, and real-life values redesigned from the bottom up. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, this is my email. Please get in touch. And if you want to read something about this research, scan this QR code. It leads to my ResearchGate profile, and you can read multiple publications about this research.